hidden otherwise.
Yeah, I saw that.
So it doesn't violate anybody's privacy outside your fellow classmates. Okay, so Daniel, you're gonna Sean, sorry. We actually have a Daniel as well, which I haven't got him to come to the Zoom meetings yet. And Sean, also, if you want to do another Zoom meeting, if there's other things that I need to get into with you, we can do one later this afternoon if you want. If we can't cover the things this morning, okay?
No problem. Okay.
Okay. Jacob's here. Somebody's getting feedback.
I think it's you. You have your other computer mic on.
Oh, do I have both mine?
I think so.
It might be me too. I don't have headphones on.
Yeah.
Let me try turning it down a little.
Okay.
That better?
I'm getting feedback. Am I getting feedback through one of you guys?
I don't think so.
I think it's coming on your end.
I hear it through yours twice. So.
Okay.
My audio is fine, so I don't know if it's me. I can put on some headphones to see if that works.
Okay. I didn't have it last time. Okay, let me go into my control panel and check that.
Daniel's headphones.
Oh, they were buzzing last time,
can
right?
you guys? You can hear me now, right? I switched over to the.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay.
Jacob's computer.
Okay, am I echoing? Tiny bit.
Tiny, not much.
Tiny bit. Boy, we're IT people, so we got to figure this out, right?
You guys want to see something cool that I got yesterday?
Sure.
It's computer related, so it's not exactly a bad thing.
Okay.
Here. This is my new processor that I'm going to put in my computer tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Which one is it?
It's a Ryzen 5 3600.
Nice.
It's a lot better than my old one. So.
Congrats.
And the motherboard and everything. Thank you.
How much did you get it for, if you don't mind me asking? I just saw one on was it B&H Photo it's on sale right now for the next like 10 hours.
I got the
don't think it was
motherboard,
that much.
I think half off for about $70.
Thanks, man.
Then the processor was around $168. So
168. Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice deal.
Not bad at all.
Okay, let me see. I just flipped to yours. So it is. What kind of processor? You're going to Ryzen 5 or something?
A Ryzen 5 3600. Yep.
Oh, nice. I'm jealous. I gotta upgrade mine. I'm still on a fourth generation i5. So yeah, because I like to do some video editing and things like that. Are you a gamer? Or are you more into video editing, or what are you?
Not definitely gaming. I just need to play modern games at a higher frame rate. So my 1660 comes tomorrow too.
So you're going to be famous on Twitch?
I probably could stream with that, but
are you going to be famous on Twitch now? Take over for Ninja.
If only.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get an exclusive deal, huh?
That's right. Yeah. Of course, it sucks now that Mixer's gone.
They got absorbed into Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how that's going.
I don't know. I never associate Facebook with games or anything. I like their new interface. Does everybody like their new Facebook interface? I think it's a vast improvement.
I haven't looked at it. I should.
Yeah, I think it's a huge improvement over the other ones. Now it's easier to. Now it's a little more like YouTube, where getting to videos and things is a little bit. It's still nowhere near as good as YouTube for videos, but it's certainly getting better. Mm-hmm. So I put some files in the shared drive. Actually, I meant to put them in like a week ago, and then I screwed up because I told Adam he wanted some pictures to look at, and I thought I'd load them up there, and he kept telling me, where are they? Where are they? And so finally yesterday I figured out I screwed up and I hadn't loaded them properly. So you know, in the A+, there's some simulation type questions, right? You know, ones where there's pictures and there's a picture of a computer and you got to drag the parts and configure it correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So let's take a look at that. So let me hit on the present. And Sean, this should be even good for you because you'll be jumping into the hardware section in about a month, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to present the screen and share it. And then we're going to go here. Okay, so does everybody know how to get to this location? I think I have a few links within Canvas to get here.
That
I've never been there.
No.
I thought Dustin put the link.
I'll put it now.
He'll put it out
Looking.
now. It's in the discussion somewhere. As far as the link, I should probably post the announcements again.
I'll
if I
send
haven't.
it on the chat.
Okay, he'll put it in the chat. So make sure you copy and paste it so you have it. Okay, so within here we have the PDFs of the books, since you don't have to come in and get books. You don't have to borrow library books here. So these are the main books we use in the network section: the 2008 server, the Windows 7, the 2012, and for 2016 we're using the LinkedIn Learning. So make sure you also have a LinkedIn Learning account. Okay. And these,
Now,
right? What was that?
I was just going to ask on the LinkedIn Learning, because I already have that, but that's the paid kind. Is there like another kind that you guys have that is not paid that I don't have to pay?
We have the paid one as well, but it's included in your program. So if you want to drop your paid one and use it, by all means, you can.
Please, yeah, that'd be nice.
Okay, and I have some instructions I will send you either in Canvas or email. I just created instructions on how to do it.
Where do I find that the Google Drive you were just at, or that you're at right now?
I
just
think
put it like that.
I think Dustin put a link in the chat.
And where do I find? Oh, there's the chat. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, you have to be logged in with the Google account that I created to have permission to get into it.
Oh.
Okay, so make sure you're logged in with that, okay? And then you'll have access to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe, at least I believe you do. I don't think you can get in if you don't have a school Google account. Okay, so in here, there are the ISOs. And Sean, are you familiar with an ISO is?
I'm a photographer, so I know that
Okay,
ISO.
that's yeah, okay, great. Okay, yeah, I always forget there's sometimes those terms are used in different industries.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it means in computers. I can't
Okay.
right off.
Okay, let me tell you what it means in computers. Or does somebody else want to tell them?
Just a disk image. Basically the
like an ISO image. Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically, if I can hand you a DVD, right? But most times that's never done anymore. So you download it off the internet. So if you buy Windows 10 or something like that, you rarely ever get the disk anymore. So you download it. So the ISO is a way to convert that plastic disk into
I am actually familiar
file.
with it. Now that Dustin had said that brings back it brings it all back.
Okay.
I know what it is.
Okay, and then you can mount that in Windows 10. You just double click on it and it mounts it. It creates a drive letter out of it.
Yeah.
Now in Windows 7 it doesn't, because you need to install a third-party program, and we use Virtual Clone Drive. I should put it in here just in case somebody can't find it.
Okay.
But in Windows 10 it automatically mounts. Now, we use it commonly when we do virtualization. So I have some videos on that, and I may have to create some more videos for you or do a Zoom meeting on it to show you how to do it. So when you install Windows 7 or Windows 10 on your computer or Linux or whatever, you don't want to mess the underlying operating system. We don't want you to mess that up. So what you install is a virtualization software. And there's 3 different very popular ones.
Like VirtualBox and
Yes, VirtualBox, VMware,
VMware.
and Hyper-V.
And what was the last one?
Hyper-V. Hyper-V is, you can only get Hyper-V if you have Windows 10 Pro or any of the later server products. So generally, we're using VirtualBox. So VirtualBox, there is a, I should put it up here. There is a free version of VMware. You can also, so there's VirtualBox is completely free. There is a free version of VMware, and I'll probably put the, you can download them. I can put the links, but I'll probably also put them up here so you can if you can download them from here as well. So the reason we use ISOs then is because after you install VMware, when you go through the process of creating a VM, testing.
Feedback.
I don't think I'm the echo because my sound's coming through the headphones. It's not coming out of my speakers on my computer. Somebody's echoing. Anyway.
Hey, just so you guys know, Sean and Jonathan, Dustin reposted the links in the message board up there. So if you need those links, you can grab those in case you didn't see them.
Yeah, thanks. I just I am in the Google Drive right now. I was able to get in. I'm looking at the same screen he was looking at.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, what is Brian's Drive? What is that?
That's me, Brian's Drive. You're gonna look for the ISO files folder.
I just posted the Google Drive by itself, and then I also posted the Canvas post where he posted the Google Drive.
I got you. Okay.
Okay, the shared folder is called ISO files if you're not directly in that. And in there, you'll see A+ practice questions, CompTIA+, Mac OS X, Windows 7. Now, if there's any other software that I can provide in there legally, I will put it in. Just give me a request or any other book or PDF or things like that.
Okay, the link that you had posted, it says access denied. It says I don't have access to view this resource.
Are you logged in with your sean.freeman@vaceedu.org?
Let me check. Are you talking in Canvas? I am, yes.
Oh, in Chrome.
I'm actually not using Chrome. I'm on Firefox.
Okay,
Should I be
just
using
go.
Chrome?
We'll just go to Gmail and sign in with that account. You don't have to actually use Chrome.
I'm signed in because I have my Gmail open in another tab, and I have that the link that Dustin had sent open, and they both in the top right. The one I'm logged in under is the vase.
And it's saying access denied?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that.
Okay.
Okay.
But I do have the drive open, so I'm able to see that.
Okay, but you can't get to that ISO folders file, the one that says ISO files.
Oh, I'm there.
Oh, you're in there.
Just like I can go through Dustin's link and it takes me there. If I go through your link that you posted, it brings me to a Canvas screen that says access denied.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Dustin's better than me. Yeah.
He just took the shortcut.
Dustin's our star student here. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So use Dustin's link and I'll repost his link. I'll test it and repost his link. Okay. All right. Sometimes links and things change. Who knows? All right. So anyway, so there's PDF books here. Let's say I open, for example, Windows 10 Enterprise. There is the ISO file. You download that ISO, and it's an evaluation copy. Does everybody know the command to extend the evaluation period?
No.
Somebody knows it.
Yeah, it's like SLGMR or something like that, right?
Close. SLMGR is
Oh,
short for
yeah.
the way to remember it is it's short for Site License Manager. So write it down, SLMGR / rearm.
SLGMR?
SLMGR for Site License Manager. Just think of Site License Manager abbreviated.
Gotcha. Slash what?
/ rearm, one word. So yeah, if your evaluation period runs out, it will give you 30 days more, and I think you can rearm 3 times. Now, hopefully you'll be reinstalling before that. What's your question?
I have 2 questions. First of all, can you repeat? I have SLMGR
/ rearm, one word.
Okay. And then
REARM. Yeah.
REARM. Okay. My question was the ISO. Where's the link for that? Like, I'm on the ISO drive. Where would I go to find that? The Windows 10 Enterprise Evaluation. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can right-click on that and download it, highlight it. Yeah, right-click on that and download it.
Okay.
Okay, so normally what you're going to do is you're going to download that. You're going to install VirtualBox. And I think I have some videos on it, but if I need to create more, or we do it through a Zoom, I'm not sure. When you get to that section, when you get to the Windows section. So you create a virtual, and you use that ISO to install the virtual. So the virtual runs on top of your host operating system. So whatever operating system's on your computer, the virtual runs on top of it, and the virtual is essentially just a file. So your entire when we virtualize things, your entire operating system turns into a file. If it's in VMware, it's a if it's in VirtualBox, no, it's in VMware, it's a VHD. If it's in VMware, it's a VMDK, and I forget what it is in VirtualBox, VDI or something like that. So it's basically a single file. So you can actually just delete it when you're done with it. You can also make snapshots with it. So if you start off with it and you start messing with it and you screw it up, if you made a snapshot before you do anything, you can revert back to your original setup. So virtuals are very, very handy for lab work. Virtuals are very handy, if you're working on a server remotely and you want to try to replicate a problem, you can have a computer where you run multiple virtual operating systems to do that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. And we will work with ISOs and virtuals a lot. So I just want to stress this right now. You guys have worked with ISOs, virtuals a lot, everybody? Just say yes?
Yeah, almost exclusively.
Plenty of
Yeah.
Almost exclusively. Yeah, because we're doing in lab work, it gives us a lot of flexibility. We can also save save virtuals and so forth and reuse them. We can transfer them to another computer. They're very portable and so forth. Okay, so this is the screen I was talking about. I just added these files right here. So let's go to this first one. Hope can you guys see it? It's a little dark.
I can see it.
Okay, drag each mobile technology to the description for its use. Some answers will not be used. Devices use haptic, excuse me, let me read that correctly. Haptic confirmation for sharing data wirelessly. What would we? So we have to drag one of the ones at the bottom to that. Which would we drag? Which one uses Does anybody know what haptic confirmation is?
I don't know what
I
haptic
don't.
is.
Haptic confirmation is when the device vibrates.
It's like a cell phone button. The home
Yeah,
button.
it's when you get that little, when you push the button and you get like a little vibration. That's what we call haptic.
Oh, my phone does that.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
can you zoom that in just a little bit? I don't know.
Can I zoom in a little bit? Okay. All right, I'll zoom in a little bit.
So the
Would
first
that be
one's gonna
cellular
be
then?
NRC.
Would that be cellular?
Yes, it would be cellular. Yeah, definitely, it would be. A cell phone uses haptic confirmation. Remember, Kate just sent me. Kate just sent me an email about workshop number 3 this afternoon. I don't think any of you guys are on the list, but if you are, be sure to attend. I think Noah was the only one who's not here today. Okay, next one. Devices are paired using a code for sharing data wirelessly.
That'd be a Bluetooth, right?
Yes, you pair with Bluetooth, correct. Devices are placed in close proximity within line of sight for sharing data wirelessly.
NFC?
Or IR.
It's
I was thinking
IR.
IR too.
It's
IR.
infrared because light has to be line of
So,
sight.
Line of
NFC,
sight. Yep. It's just close.
NFC has to be close. It doesn't technically have to be line of sight.
Okay.
Okay. Last one, devices are connected via a wire for sharing data or connectivity.
Tethering.
Tethering.
Right?
Yes, tethering. Okay, this is one where we have to do a lot of reading. These are the kind of scenario ones where you have to kind of fill in like you're putting the information into a tablet or a cell phone. Okay, you need to configure your mobile device to send and receive electronic messages from your company. You must use the company's WLAN. What's a WLAN?
Wireless LAN?
Wireless LAN network?
Yeah, wireless LAN. Or sometimes you just say Wi-Fi. As all email services are on default non-secure ports. The company's WLAN is broadcasting across the company for easier access. Users must authenticate to the server with the same credentials in order to send and receive email. No, that's not important. A user must authenticate. Now, this is important. Users must authenticate to the server with the same credentials in order to send and receive email. What are the protocols we're using for sending and receiving email? We've talked about that quite a bit.
POP3 and IMAP.
POP3.
What?
POP3 and IMAP or SMTP.
Correct. Yeah, POP3, POP3 or IMAP, sometimes known as IMAP4, and the other one is SMTP. So we're using SMTP and then either POP3 or IMAP4. Authentication should be enforced by using settings of mobile device using the following parameters. So this is where we're going to get the username, password. Okay, and this is where we see the SMTP and POP3 server. So mail.techies.com, that's your SMTP server, correct? And
Yes.
incoming server, your POP, in this case they're using POP3, that's pop3.techies.com. Nowadays, a lot of, like when you set up Microsoft Outlook, a lot of that, they built in auto discover features nowadays, but not always. Sometimes you have to put in all this information. So when a person is sending an email, it knows what server to send it to and what server to receive email from. Okay, company SSID. What is the SSID?
The network name.
The network name, yeah. Okay, Adam says meeting, join me to the meeting. Let me stop sharing for just a moment. And see if I can find him. Okay, welcome, Adam. Can you talk or not? Okay, good. All right, Adam. We're going through a few of those pictorial ones that we talked about. Okay, so let me go back to sharing the screen. Is Adam saying he's here?
Yeah, I see him.
I see him, but he hasn't said anything.
Yeah, he just said he's here in the chat.
Okay, all right. He's another holdout, not getting a webcam or using his phone, right? Okay, so I said, what is an SSID?
Network name.
Well, the network name for the Wi-Fi network, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's for your Wi-Fi. So when you go into your phone and you access an SSID, you want to make sure you access the correct one, so you're on the correct name. Especially if you're in a busy downtown area where you can see multiple SSDs, or you live in an apartment building. And then we have security keys, so there must be some type of encryption. Enter the mobile data, blah, blah, blah. Use the strongest encryption. So what is the strongest encryption?
I think it's AES right now, right? AES 256 or something.
Yeah, WPA2 AES. Okay, so okay, and unfortunately, that's the only picture I have on that. So we would go into Wi-Fi networks right here, and we would put in the name of the SSID. We would put the username, password. We would put this for the SMTP server, this for the POP server, and then we would put WPA2 AES since we want the strongest, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's when you get into these, you just click on this and expand it. So for the Wi-Fi, this is where we'd be putting in WPA2 AES and the SSID. For mail, this is where we would be putting in the POP3 server, the SMTP server, these ones right here, the username and password to authenticate to the email server, and the on the Wi-Fi network where we'd be putting in WPA2, we'd be putting in this key. Okay.
Can I ask you a question real quick on that?
Sure, go ahead.
The incoming and the outgoing. What are the purposes of, like, what does that actually mean by incoming and outgoing?
Okay.
I mean, I know what the word means, but what does that mean pertaining to?
Okay, one server, they can actually be both the same server sometimes.
Okay.
But depending on, how they're distributing the load, remember, there's tons of email going on. And we're talking out on the internet. These servers are out on the internet typically. They may be internal servers within your. So one of them, SMTP, sends email up to a server. The POP3 protocol pulls it down off the server. Okay.
Okay, I think you answered it when you said they could both be the same. That was kind of what I was getting at. Was they're just two different servers at that point, and then they can be the same.
Yeah, and in a smaller, typically in a business, they're probably both the same server. But I bet on the internet they probably split them up, for workload.
All right.
Okay, this is a fun one. We get to build a gaming computer.
Hey.
Yay, Jacob! This is this in your field right here, and
we
you,
should
Daniel.
let Jacob do this one by himself.
There you go, Jacob.
Why don't we let Sean start first, and then Jacob help him out?
What am I doing?
Sean, what do you think would be the power supply? Actually, no. Let's start with the graphics card slot. What do you think that would be if you're building a gaming computer?
I don't understand the question. What do you mean? What do I think that would be? Oh, on the left, one of those.
Yeah, the orange ones on the left are your choices, and you got to fill in. You got to drag it. Okay.
So it'd be the SLI graphics card.
Okay, it'd be the SLI graphics card. Okay, so Jacob, what would go in the peripheral slot?
You know, this one kind of gives you the answers. Like it tells you where everything goes already.
Does it? It doesn't on mine.
Well, you know how it says the memory goes here, the cooling, and it's like you just have to, you know, pick.
The idea is which kind you want for a gaming computer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, which kind do you? Because there's going to be a virtualization server in a moment.
You put a surround card in the room.
That goes surround sound.
What's the bottom?
Surround sound. Okay, so peripheral slot would have the surround sound.
Yeah, what is the bottom one? I can't read it. It just has the ID number in front of it.
Yeah, that's a question.
Or here,
Oh yeah, what is the bottom one?
It says, external backup drive.
External backup drive, yeah. Okay, so what else? As far as memory, this is kind of a rotten one to ask of the memory, really. Because we as gamers always want
more RAM.
Yeah, the more RAM, the better. But if you're building two machines and you got these parts,
it has to
you've got 12 gig and 24 gig. So
I'm going with 12.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go with 12 gig for the gaming machine.
Why would you do that? Just out of curiosity?
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer.
The virtualization needs more RAM.
Well, what happens if you add 20 virtuals? Remember, you allocate amount of virtual RAM per virtual machine. So the more RAM you have, the more virtual machines. So the more efficient the use of your virtual server is by having more RAM.
All right, I wasn't aware.
So if I'm allocating, remember with a virtual machine we allocate amount of RAM. So if I allocate 4 gig to each one, that's going to give me what, 6 virtual machines by having 24 gig.
Is that because you're playing games in a virtual machine?
No, you never play virtualization hasn't really been perfected for gaming yet.
Okay.
It's not quite there. I don't know. Maybe it is with Google Stadia. Maybe they've figured out how to do it. But for the most part, virtualization is not ideal for games because the video drivers are just not optimized to work in a virtualization method. Virtualization is more for processing data and things like that. For data servers, email servers, things like that. Not so much for things that do gaming. I mean, you could probably do back-end video processing, but not necessarily video gaming. Not optimally, at least.
Why would we want less RAM on a gaming computer, though? I still don't understand that.
We wouldn't.
Okay,
as the answer. The question, the reason is because we have all of these options, but we have to build 2 computers.
I see. On the right to
and
game,
which
it says virtualization.
So yeah, this question in a way is kind of net.
I see it. I get it. So we're saying would divvy up between the 2. Like for a gaming computer, if you had these options, you'd want that one. For virtualization, you would want to choose the 24. Is what you're saying?
Right. We have to pick the best ideal one. Yes, of course, we want 24 gig in a gaming machine. Sure, why not? The more, there's that saying, the more RAM, the better.
Yeah, of
But-
course. Yeah.
But the RAM is much more important on a virtualization machine than it is on a.
Right.
Because
sorry,
the more RAM you have, the more virtuals you can add to it. Okay, so how about power supply?
I did that one, I thought.
What was that? What did we go with?
Didn't I do the power supply? Oh, no, I did graphics card. Never mind.
Yeah, the gaming one's gonna have the one with the most watts. They're gonna want the one with the most watts.
Okay, yeah, I think the game. Why would the gaming one want the one with the most wattage?
That graphics
Because the
card,
hardware
man,
inside.
Most
it
CPU.
sucks all the
Or,
power.
Because of the GPU, the graphics card. The graphics
GPU,
card
yeah.
eat a lot of power. So your GPU within your graphics card tends to eat a lot of power up.
Especially with that
Okay.
huge 4K resolution. Jeez.
Cooling. What were our options on cooling?
We got liquid cooling or a CPU fan, it looks like.
Right. And which would we-
Liquid cooling.
Liquid
Liquid
cooling.
cooling, probably.
Yeah, we don't really want to mess with liquid cooling in a virtualization machine. I mean, it could leak or something like that. It tends to be on a gaming machine. You're going to be more of a hobbyist and fiddle with that kind of thing, and experiment, where you're going to be a little more conservative on a virtualization machine. And external display, what do you think goes in there?
Is that with the blacked out or the blacked out?
I guess you want the dual monitor, right, for the gaming.
Yeah, I guess you'd want dual monitor for gaming. Yeah, that's debatable, but yeah.
And I mean,
So-
you could put KVM too, but I guess they want that for virtual or.
What is KVM?
When do you KVM is keyboard video mouse? You guys never use KVM for gaming.
Well, not for
No.
it, but you know,
No way.
like
A KVM is used in a server room almost exclusively. Okay, keyboard video mouse is what it is. What a KVM does is, let's say you have 20 servers in your server room. Well, you don't have 20 keyboards and 20 mice, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's a little box that you plug all of your servers into, and they plug into one keyboard and mouse. And then there's little buttons on the KVM, or sometimes there's keyboard controls, and lets you switch between servers without having to have 20 keyboards. So it's very convenient. In fact, we have it in the back. We have them in the back because we just have, we'd have keyboards, video monitors, and mice all over the room. There just wouldn't be room. Okay, so let's go to the virtual. I don't know if I have a picture of the virtualization one.
Yes, but it hides all of the other stuff.
Yeah, well, this was the rest of the instructions. The virtualization workstation should be able to host several production virtual machines as part of Ann's home business. The customer has requested 2 custom machines. We pretty much guessed this already. One's used for gaming, the other's used for virtualization workstation for her business. Okay, so I think I have to go back to the others. Yeah, let's
you
go
can
back to the.
Just go back to it.
Yeah, we'll go back to the other screen. And I'm losing. Oops. Sorry about that. I'm looking for the ISO folder. There we go. Lost my way. Okay, so we'll go back to this one. Okay, so now pretend it's the virtualization workstation. How are we going to build that up with what's remaining? Okay, so how much RAM?
We're going to use
24.
24.
24.
Okay, so why are we choosing 24?
More virtual machines.
More virtual machines. Yeah.
Right. And when we use the virtualization software, when we're using VMware, when we're going through the step-by-step to create the virtual machine, we're asked how much RAM we want to use. So we get to allocate how much of the physical RAM we want to use as virtual RAM for the virtual machine. Now, if you over allocate, let's say you have 24 gig of RAM and you over allocate with 30 gig, you know, it can work, but you know, if they're all using that 30 gig, then you're going to have a slowdown. So by having this amount of RAM, we're probably not going to over allocate the amount of virtual RAM. Okay, power supply. What did we decide on?
Yeah, the lesser one, the 75.
Yeah, because we figured the gaming machine would use more power. Cooling?
CPU fan.
CPU fan.
Yeah, that should be adequate for it as long as we have a big enough fan. We don't want to do anything exotic there, really, if it's not necessary. Graphics card.
Using the onboard video.
Onboard
video. In fact, you'll find, you know, some people want to buy servers and think they're really cool and then go gaming on them. Servers generally have fairly standard video because video is not really important on a server. In fact, some servers we will run with no graphical interface at all. So they wouldn't need any kind of fancy video. Why would we run a server with no graphical components to it?
Less GPU.
Less upkeep and stuff.
Yeah,
Because
that's
most
GPU.
servers don't. Most server OSs don't even have a graphical interface.
Their command line usually, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's a smaller footprint of vulnerability as well. The more stuff you're running on there, the more potential things you have that hackers can go after.
Exploitation.
So the fewer things you have on there, the fewer things they can exploit.
So an onboard video, is that the same as dedicated? Is that just another name for it, or?
Yeah. There's going to be a few names that we throw back and forth that we use synonymously. Like when I say directories and folders, you know, things like that. So yeah, you'll get used to that. But be sure to ask to clarify, because sometimes we use things that are synonymous. Sometimes we mean slightly different reasons. Just like ISO, I forgot that an ISO is also a photography term.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All righty. Let's see. Is there any we missed on here?
The peripheral slot.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
we can't see the actual thing for the peripheral slot.
It does say external backup drive is what it says.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that. I don't think that's going to be for peripheral. I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be for the peripheral slot. Oh yeah. Okay, peripheral slot. And what is the one last thing left then that we would put in there?
Display? No, we did. Did we do display? Yeah, we did KVM.
Okay, KVM. I don't think we covered KVM. So the KVM would be effectively for external display. It's not an external display, but it's and what's attached is to an external display.
Yeah.
So have I made it clear what a KVM is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little box. You plug your keyboard and mouse into it. On the other side, you have a whole bunch of wires. You plug the ports from your keyboard, your video, and your mouse from each server into the back of the box. And the front of the box, you only have one keyboard and mouse. And then you usually have little buttons or controls or something that lets you flip between your servers very quickly. Because you'll see some server rooms have hundreds of servers, so having too many keyboards and mice just gets confusing. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, hopefully Looks like I may have cut. Looks like I may have cut off the display for this. Okay, so we have. Let me see if I have the instructions on this one. Okay, there we go, right here. So let's read the instructions first. Okay, so this has to do with wireless access points. You can see there's probably tethering, there's tablets and things like that. So let's read this one. Megan, the CEO, is unable to connect to the company's networks on her company-issued enterprise tablet when in the office. However, it works perfectly at home. All the corporate laptops in the company are connected to the wireless network without issue. She has asked for assistance in getting the device online. Okay, and then the instructions, review the network diagrams, device configuration to be able to cause of the problem and resolve it. So let's see, let's read that again. She's unable to connect to the company's network on her tablet. When at home, however, it works perfectly. All the corporate laptops in the company are connected. Okay, I think it has to do with a hot.
Whoa.
Whoops.
Has to do with distance, maybe?
Yeah, I think there was another picture where it showed the heat map. So I think she is out of range for the heat map. And then, unfortunately, I don't think I have that picture. So we would have to add another access point or move the location of this access point over here.
Did it say that she couldn't connect to it, or that that she just doesn't have internet access?
She can't connect to it. So it would appear like a range issue. So let's read this again. All corporate laptops in the company are connected to the wireless network without issue. Okay, so all the other ones connect without issue. So you can see the heat map is going to go around here. And she is way over here. So the WAPs are positioned poorly within the office. And like I said, I think there was a picture of this that actually showed the heat map.
Do you have the official answer for that one? Just out of curiosity.
Yes, it is to move the WAP.
Cool.
So it's to relocate the wireless access point. All right, so this one, you know, when we first look at this one, look at the channels 6, 3, and 5. What's wrong with that?
They're overlapping.
Too close together.
They're too close together. What should they be?
What is it? 1, 6, 12, 11, or whatever it was.
1, 6, and 11. If we're talking about 2.4 gig Wi-Fi, there are 11 channels. Sean, are you familiar with Wi-Fi, that there's 2.4 gig Wi-Fi and 5 gig Wi-Fi?
A little bit.
Okay.
I know that 2.4 gigs has a longer reach.
Yes, it does. And why does it have a longer reach?
Because the wavelength is smaller.
The wavelength is longer, so it's a lower frequency. So
lower frequency. It just reaches. It's kind of like sound, you know. Lower the frequency, you can hear it farther away.
Yeah, frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional. So the higher the frequency, the shorter the wavelength. The lower the frequency, the longer the frequency. And you're right, because sound is a very low frequency with a long wavelength. It penetrates more. radio waves, because they're a low frequency, FM, AM radio, they penetrate walls and things like that. Wi-Fi, because it is a high frequency, doesn't penetrate quite as well. So it doesn't, the higher the frequency you get, of course, with the higher the frequency, it's the shorter the wavelength, it doesn't penetrate as well. So 2.4 has better penetration than 5 gig. Now, unfortunately, on 2.4, there's only 11 channels, and a lot of those channels overlap. The only one, yeah, the only ones that are far enough. Somebody's echoing me again. The only ones that are far enough apart are 1, 6, and 11. Any other one will have some kind of overlap with a nearby channel. So when you pick your channels, those are the optimal channels to pick.
So when you say overlap, what would happen if they're too close together then?
Well, you're gonna get some degradation in the signal. They can overlap, but optimally, you don't want them to.
So the speed would go down, or they could even disconnect for a little bit. Is that what?
Yeah, they could drop packets and things like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we look at the information on the left side, we see the first one, wireless network name is default. It's open security, and it's using channel 6. I assume these buildings are all close to the library, so the library has to keep in mind these different frequencies. The second one is my Wi-Fi. It is using WEP. What's wrong with WEP?
It's
It's obsolete, right? It's very easily cracked. You can go on the internet and you can watch videos on how to crack WEP. It's turned out that there's so much information out there on how to crack it, so it's not worth using. And the last one is Pat's Wi-Fi. He's also using WEP, and he's unfortunately on channel 5. So now we look over at the library's configuration, and they've of course got this must be the configuration page on their Wi-Fi router. So they've got, of course, Wi-Fi enabled. Their SSID is marketing. They're on channel 3. They've disabled the SSID broadcast, which in a public library is kind of strange. I don't know why you would want to disable your SSID. It's not restricted to only G mode. So if it's not restricted to only G, what other mode would it run in?
Is it A? No.
Not A.
N?
Well, it could be N, but I'm assuming because it says G, it's probably talking about earlier than G.
Talking about B.
B, yeah. So B and G. And yes, of course, it could be N, but I think because it's saying G,
I get you.
It's talking about G or earlier. Security mode, WEP, which we said was not very good. The WEP key is WEP key 1. Then there's cafe, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's read the instructions here. This is Anne again, a librarian, has had a previously... Okay, so the problem here is she's been given this wireless access point. So obviously it's not configured correctly. So that's why we've got all this bogus stuff on here. So when you see that clue, used wireless access point donated to her, it means kind of figure that all that stuff is wrong on there. She has instructed you to configure the new wireless access point for her public library and now plans to allow anyone to connect to the access point without having to ask her configuration information. So we're going to have to enable it SSID, otherwise she'd have to tell them. And additionally, Anne knows that her neighbors have wireless networks, which we saw, and wants to ensure that her network has least likelihood of interfering with other networks. Anne has provided with the following information. And her wireless name is library, and her router password is secure $1. Okay, so what are we going to do?
Yeah, change that
the
wireless
name from marketing to library. That's going to be.
Yeah, okay, we're going to leave that check. We're going to leave that. What are we going to do here?
Yeah, change that.
Change it to 11.
Change it to like 11.
Change it to 11. What are we going to do here?
Enable it.
Yeah,
Enable
we're
it,
going to
yeah.
enable it. I don't know about this one. I think she wants to make it as easy as possible, so I think we'll leave that unchecked.
Okay.
And what did she say about the security?
She wants anybody to be able to use it.
Okay, so I think we'll change this to none. Does that sound right?
I think so.
So yeah, I think she's going to change this to none.
Well,
I
she
have-
asked
I have a
for a
quick-
password, so she would need something.
No,
That's for her route.
no, this is to actually the route. Yeah, everybody gets this one confused. This is almost like a red herring.
It's just to log into the router.
That's
Yeah, it's to actually log into the
Configure
router
it.
itself. So yeah, that has nothing to do with the users. This is the admin of the router, so that people can't go in and reconfigure your router for you. So yeah, this is a little bit of a trick. Beware. Yeah, watch out for this. This does not mean you're running WPA or WPA2
It's not your
or what.
SSID password, is
what
right?
is this
No.
ID?
Little percent.
It's
That's
not.
good
It's
to
your
know.
router password to log into your router. So how
Yeah.
do you normally log into a router? A home router.
Like
Usually
router
put in
login
like the address.
or 192
Alright.
dot.
Yeah, that's the one. That's what I
Yeah,
usually
sometimes you do it. Sometimes you do it with a disk, but usually that's the sucky way. Usually you go into your machine, you do an IP config, and you see what your IP address of your computer is, and you see what the gateway address is. Open up your browser, type in that gateway address, because that'll be the address of your router. It'll open up, and then you would log in with this password. Usually on a
And
net.
that's the SSID, right?
No, it's not the SSID.
No.
It's the router.
The wireless
router
name
login.
is SSID.
Oh yeah, the wireless. This is the SSID. It doesn't say what the router username is, but usually on a Netgear, it's usually admin or admin password as a default. So usually the username to log in is admin. Most of the routers I've seen use admin as the name to log in, and then usually the default is admin or password, and then of course you would change that to make it secure. So yeah, don't get fooled down here thinking that you're going to put a password in here, because this has nothing to do with it. This would be under administrator tools where you would access that. Okay, so unfortunately I don't have that page, but going back here, we would have administrator tools, and that's where you would put that in. Now there's no filtering, but what kind of filtering might you do?
Mac filter.
Yeah,
I
you
think that's
typically a
probably
Mac.
pretty much it. You do.
Okay, can somebody explain what a Mac filter is?
So every computer or node on every network card, anything that has a network card has a MAC address, which is like a unique number to identify it. And what you can do is basically put all the devices you know. You can look up all their MAC addresses on each machine, and you can put a list of the ones you want to connect, and anything else that has a different number, which it will, cannot connect. Even though in real life you can change your MAC address really easily, but most people won't do that. So it's like an
Yeah,
easy.
we call it spoofing it. Yeah.
So on something like this, you wouldn't want any network filter, right?
Right. On this one, you definitely would not want, because you want to make this as open as possible, because for a library, and it's for like here at the school, we don't MAC filter because we let
You don't
everybody.
know who's going to connect at that point. You don't know
Right.
what their MAC addresses are, and
Right.
okay.
But let's say you
But
were
if it was
bit-
like say your home or something like that, and you know your devices, you know what their MAC addresses are, and you don't expect anyone to be able to connect that you don't know, that's when you would use a network filter, right?
Yeah, I MAC filter at home.
Something like that.
Use a network filter. Yeah. And if you're in a business that you had a Wi-Fi just for your employees, maybe for the price scanners and different things like that, that was a separate network for them, you wouldn't want anybody else getting into it and getting into, payroll or things like that. So you might have something that's MAC filtered and also strong encryption and radius and all kinds of things to keep it protected.
Hey, Brian?
Yeah.
Is port filtering like a thing that's common in routers or not really?
Yes, a lot of them have all kinds of different features where you could port filter and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's considered the same thing as port forwarding, right? Basically.
Yeah. Well, port filtering is essentially like a firewall feature within your router, and it may or may not have it, depending on depending on the model and so forth. But nowadays, they're wanting to sell these $300 routers, right? So they're putting in all kinds of features into them to offer a premium type of Wi-Fi router. So you will see also some of them have NAS on them as well, so you can store directly files to make them accessible to the outside directly from your router, and other things like that. Some of them have optimal modes for streaming, for gaming, things like that as well, where you can set priority on different Wi-Fi connections. I know I do that at home for Netflix. I give it a higher priority than other internet connections. So they keep tacking on. Who knows? I can say they have this, that, and the other thing, and a product can come out tomorrow with even more features, because remember, they're all competing with each other. And even though this technology is fairly mature, there's always things they can add on. It's just like cell phones. You think cell phones are mature now, the iPhone 11 or whatever, they'll still come up with another feature, right? Or to entice you to move on to something new.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that. Let's just pick some random questions here, just for the fun of it. I didn't get a chance to go through these, so give me a number.
7.
7. Okay.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. Bob, are you here?
Huh?
Is Bob here?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I didn't see you come. I didn't see you come in. Yeah,
I've been answering some of the questions. I don't.
Okay, this was a perfect one, number 7.
Nice to meet you, man.
Okay, we've done this one before, but this is a perfect review. I don't know if we've gotten 100% on it, because this is Wi-Fi, so this goes right along with what we've been talking about. Which of the following characteristics of IEEE 802.11n wireless standards apply?
Could you zoom in a little bit?
Yes, sorry, I will zoom in a little bit on that. Sorry.
Oh, it's better.
There we go.
Oh, that was good.
Now we get a free trial.
Yeah, now you got a free trial. All right.
So it definitely has MIMO. I mean, yeah, multiple input output. And
Is it the MoMimo or the? It is the MIMO,
the first one.
Not the multi-user MIMO.
Yeah, and it's 2 and 5, and it has 600, the maximum data signaling.
Okay, let's slow down for anybody who doesn't know this. Sean, are you familiar with these things or not?
The multiple input output I'm not familiar with.
Okay, a lot of the Wi-Fi standards were 802.11a, 802.11b, G, N, and AC. Over the years, they've gotten better because back in the days of 802.11b, it was really slow. It was only 11 megabits per second. G went to 54. N went to either 300 or 600, depending on what you read. And AC, who knows? It's a black magic. So multiple in, multiple out means it has multiple antennas on it, putting out slightly different frequencies. Because the problem is, high frequency stuff reflects off walls. So if you're running different frequencies, they reflect differently, and you'll have less dead spots. You'll have less problem with multipathing. And
With
things
them,
like that.
can you use both of them at the same? You have to choose one or the other, right? For N, you have to choose either 2.4 or 5. You can't do both.
Yes, you do, but it'll do MIMO on both. But you will have to choose 2.4 or 5. Yeah, you'll have two different SSIDs. Usually, usually with mine, the SSID for 5 will be the same. The default name will be the same with a 5G at the end of the name.
Yeah, before I knew what that was, I always saw 5G, and I'm like, there's no such thing as 5G. What the, you know? And I didn't know that it was 5 gigahertz, and not talking about like the
right,
like 4G, 5G,
yeah,
kind of.
right. And we have talked about that. Yeah, when we say 5G, Sean, be aware there's two different things with 5G. The successor to the cell phone LTE 4G technology is called 5G. And that's the one that's very controversial, where you got these crazy
giving everyone
people
cancer and
killing and stuff, where they're burning down the towers in England and things like that, because it runs on an extremely high frequency. At least one of the frequencies that's used in 5G. So that's one 5G, and the other one is 5 gig. And if I inadvertently just shorten it sometimes to 5G, like they do, we're talking about 5 gigahertz, not 5G cell technology. So two different things. Usually we say 5 gig, but if we shorten that to 5G, you just have to take it in context. Okay.
So on the, I was just going to ask on the 802.11, is there an AX also?
Yes, there is an AX as well.
Okay. I was just looking mine up.
Yeah, I haven't seen any AX stuff. I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it. AC is just, we don't even have AC here. We're getting AC stuff. So I don't know what AX is geared towards yet. I need to look into that.
Hey, Brian.
Okay, so yeah.
I've got to head out to my appointment, so I'll see you guys Tuesday.
See you around.
Okay, Daniel. We'll see you Tuesday. Okay,
we'll
see you Tuesday. Okay. And then N is a maximum of what speed?
600.
600. G would be 54. So the next step up from 54 was 600. Like I said, sometimes it depends on the product. Sometimes they'll say 300. Sometimes they'll say 600. So I think N kind of depends on how much money you spend for it. It's kind of a little weird. I think 600 is the maximum, but I think some manufacturers sell it as 300.
I think it's like 150 megabits per antenna. They have 4 antennas.
Okay, so 4 antennas. Gotcha. Okay, IEEE 802.11 offers backward compatibility with what?
A and B and G?
No, I don't know. Definitely G, definitely B.
You don't know about A though?
I don't know about A. While it does do 5 gig, you think it would be compatible with
I
A.
would think so.
Okay, I'm not 100%. I forget on this one. Definitely not AC because AC is a newer standard, completely different. Okay, I 100% know B and G. I'm 50% sure that it's A because we don't really talk about A very much. A wasn't adopted very much, so it kind of got forgotten. It's kind of a forgotten child. MIMO is a wireless technology that allows for significant increase in data throughput due to the use of multiple antennas and multiple data streams.
I think that's true.
Okay, we're going to go with true. Okay. Which of the following answers describes features? By the way, if you guys want to stop, take a drink or something, you can catch up later. Which of the we'll try to get through the rest of this quickly. Which of the following answers describes the features of IEEE 802.11ac wiring standard? Okay, so we know instead of MIMO, it has multi-use MIMO, right?
Multi-move.
Because it stepped up to that. Okay.
And 2.4 and 5.0.
Okay, 2.4, 5.0, yeah.
I only think it uses one of them.
Yeah, it has to only use one of them because there's only 3 answers.
Right. It does not use 2.4.
Okay.
You're right, because to make it faster, remember the higher speeds need a higher frequency.
Right.
And of course, we already know N does 600, so it's going to have to do 6.7 gig, which that's a huge speed.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge. I think this is very short range, but I think this is like to project high def signals to your TV. I don't think it's very long range, so I think that's a little misleading. I'd have to look at the specs, on it. Which of the following frequency bands can be used by IEEE 802.N networks? And we already know, right? 2.4 and 5. Right? We agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is the one we got wrong last time. What channel bandwidth is specified by 802.11a standard?
40.
Is it 40?
I don't know.
Remember, this is 5 gig.
Better do the 20 or 22.
This is 5 gig, so it could be a wider bandwidth.
Adam says 20.
I think it was either 20 or 22.
Right. I think B was 22. I think most of the rest of them were 20 until we get to AC. Because AC does that channel bonding. B, I'm pretty sure it was 22, right? Yeah. I think that was the odd one. A G, 20, right?
20, okay.
Come on, we did this a few weeks ago, so let's see how good our memories are. Okay, here's the channel bonding one. The term channel bonding refers to a technique that allows for the combining of adjacent channels to increase the amount of bandwidth available.
But that's true.
Yeah, they bond the channels together to give you greater bandwidth. And that's what we see on AC. That's how they get that much wider bandwidth. On IEEE 802.N standard specifies available channel bandwidth options of.
Gosh, is that? I think you.
I think it needs.
Does it let?
I think one of them was 160.
Okay, does it let you bond 160, 80, 40, and 20?
You only get two answers.
Okay. Okay.
Bandwidth spends options.
I think it's gonna be 20 and 40 because I think it was AC that let you go up to 160 if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
So this would be allowing you to bond 2 channels together. If it did 20 is the normal one, right? So
Yeah.
40 would be bonding 2 channels together. Okay, which of the following describes ADC bandwidth options? And this we said 160, right? That we would be able to bond a whole bunch of channels, giving us that large bandwidth.
It wouldn't be any of the above, right? It couldn't. Nah, it's 160.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know.
I think, yeah, I think you're right. Any of the above. Sorry. Yeah, because I think you could bond 2 channels, 4 channels, or 8 channel as maximum of 8 channels together. The inch channel is 20 megahertz. You bond 8 of them together, you get 160. I think you're right. I think it has the choice of bonding from 2 to 8 channels together. Which of the following channel options would allow 3 wireless access points to set up non-overlapping channels? This is a give me, right? We all know this one.
It's 1, 6, and 11. Yeah.
Sean, you got that one right?
Yeah.
1, 6, and 11. So basically, the easy way to remember this is if there's 11 channels, you pick the ones that are spaced farthest apart from each other. So once you understand there's 11 channels and there's only 3 non-overlapping, it's easy just to pick the numbers that are spaced as far apart.
Yeah.
That's the way you remember that one. Which of the following wireless technologies enables identification and tracking of tags attached to objects?
RFID.
Yep. Which of the following refer to IoT? Does everybody know what IoT is?
I do not
Internet
know
of
what
Things.
IoT is.
Internet of Things. Yeah, like I said, like I play with Arduino stuff or
Raspberry
the
Pi
the Nest, Raspberry Pis. Those are the hobbyist stuff, but there's also commercial stuff like Nest and things like that. Ring doorbells, things like that. IoT technology designed to permit communication between appliances in the home automation network. And Bob is the one that knows the answer to this one.
I know it's
Does anybody else know?
Bob, you know the answer.
Zigbee and Z-Wave.
Zigbee and Z-Wave, yeah. Yeah. You're just going to have to memorize those, right? I don't know what to say on that.
I've never even heard of them.
Yeah.
And we even had to look up ANT, remember? I forget what that was for.
I know what ANT Plus is.
Yeah, we looked it up, but I can't remember off the top of my head what ANT Plus was. Okay, LTE is a wireless communication standard for mobile devices and wireless hotspots. LTE is much faster than old generation 2G or 3G, but both LGE and later LGE Advanced are often marked as 4G standards. I think we pretty much said this before.
Is it going to be 4G or 5G?
I think we pretty much said that's true.
I think it's true.
Yeah. We weren't entirely sure about LG Advanced.
LTE.
We definitely know
Advanced.
LTE is definitely known as 4G, the other name for 4G.
Yeah, but LTE Advanced, that would be 4G also?
I'm not 100% certain. I think so. I'm not sure what they're calling 5G, except for 5G.
All right, we'll find out.
What is the function of an HTTP server? That should be pretty easy for most of it. Sean, do you know what an HTTP server is?
Serving of web pages.
Yeah, hypertext transfer protocol, serving of web pages.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay, good.
I actually designed websites when I was like younger. When I was like 16, 17, I used to design websites, but that was a long time ago.
Okay.
A long time ago.
Okay, Sean, let's see if you can answer this one then. A little tougher one. A dedicated file server is known as
a dedicated file server. I'm gonna say I don't think it's DNS because that's the name.
No, it's not DNS. That's the name. You're right.
I think it's HTTP server.
Right, because that's web.
FTP is file transfer protocol. I know that. So I'm going to say FTP.
Yes, STP. And this is the one we talked about before, simple mail transfer protocol.
That's email, right? Yeah.
Right. Remember we said you needed SMTP and POP or IMAP? So we talked a little about that before. IPP, LPD, LPR, SMB, CIFS are examples of blah, blah, blah. What? Blah, 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 blah.
Printing.
Printing. Okay, so I talked about these a little bit before. What's LPD and LPR used with?
Laser printers? I have no idea.
It's typically used with Linux. It's the line printer daemon and the line printer. Those are the commands you use in Linux or Unix. SMB and CIFS are the protocols for Windows. And IPP is sort of an open standard. It's the Internet Printing Protocol. Okay, so they're all used for printing.
Okay.
So just remember, an LPD is a line printer daemon used in the Unix environment. Okay. Which of the following server types is used for automatic allocation of IP addresses on a network? Sean, can you answer this one? Because everybody else knows it.
I want to, don't tell me if I'm wrong yet because I want to think about it, but I think it's DNS server. Which of the following server types is used for automatic allocation of IP addresses on a network? It might be, it's one of the first two.
Okay, here, let me give you a clue right here.
I think it's DHCP.
When you get these questions, yeah, if you know some of them, you can cross right out. Like
yeah, it's a 50-50 for me.
Yeah. So when you're actually on an actual test, if you can get it down to 50-50, you know, you got a 50% chance of getting it right.
Yeah. I'm going to say DHCP.
Yeah. It is a dynamic host configuration protocol. So somebody, this is important. Everybody needs to know this. Can somebody describe what DNS is?
Yeah, it's a domain name server. I believe a server, right? That stands for server.
Yeah.
So
no, actually, it stands for domain name service because otherwise
service, that's what I thought.
Server. But commonly, people will say domain name server.
It's basically just so we don't have to remember IP addresses, right? So it's like, so instead of having to go to 173. If we want to go to Google, we don't have to type a number in. We type google.com or we type a name.
Right.
So when we type that in, it searches domain. It goes to a DNS server and says, hey, I'm looking for google.com. What number is that? Basically, what address is that, right?
And if we want to say sound a little more techy, we say it resolves IP to name, IP to host name.
Okay.
Okay. And since you mentioned Google, just one more thing. An easy DNS server address to remember, if you
8.8.8.8.
Yeah, 8.8.8.8. You'll see us stick that one in a lot because it's real easy to remember. Yeah, so 8888, easy one to remember. If you don't know a DNS server to stick in, very common to put that one in. Connect a website on the internet and display its contents. A URL entered in a web browser bar needs to be translated into an IP address. Which of the following servers handles this type of request? We just actually said it.
DNS.
DNS, yeah. Does anybody know this one? This is an oddball one.
Is that one where it communicates with different devices like agents?
Kind of. It's not really used anymore. It's an internet connection server. It's essentially what we might call a proxy server now. Okay. It was a feature you could actually install into Windows 98 and Windows 95. And it was before routers became popular. It was basically to make your computer a router. Which of the following is a computer system or an application service that acts as an intermediary between the network host and the internet? And I pretty much just said that.
Proxy.
Proxy, yeah. It proxies on your behalf. So with a proxy server, your users are never connecting to the internet. They're connecting to the proxy server, and then the proxy server is connecting to the internet for them. They can do more filtering. Also, you can do a lot more caching as well. So if people go to the same internet page all the time, it can be cached in the proxy so that they actually don't have to go out to the internet then. Saves on bandwidth.
Yeah, because proxies are slower, right? Or is that the reason they do it? Is because they're slower?
Well, no, a proxy would essentially be faster because you're connecting it at land speed to the proxy server. I mean, initially, yeah, it could be
right?
Initially, it might be a little slower. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Somebody's got their Microsoft microphone too sensitive now.
I'm gonna take mine. I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Yeah, Bob, have you muted yourself? Okay, that's better. I think we may have to go to Zoom next time we do this. What is the function of an SMTP server? And we've also talked about this a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm.
Email.
Email, yeah. Remember, SMTP, POP, and IMAP take care of. What would take care of file storage?
FTP.
Name resolution?
Yeah.
DNS.
And
Yes.
let's see, this is a hard one. Let's see if anybody knows this one, authentication.
Would that be the DHCP?
No, because the DHCP just hands out IP addresses.
It just hands them out. Okay. Authentication.
Somebody needs to turn down the sensitivity on their mic. Could be SSH, yeah. Wasn't the one I was thinking about, but yeah, that could be.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
I was thinking LDAP.
I've never heard of it. What is it? LDAP?
LDAP, the
DAP.
Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. You're going to hear about this one a lot because it's a component of Active Directory. And we're going to talk about Active Directory a lot. Which of the following is one of the functions provided by Radius and Taxis servers? Come on, we've talked about this before.
Authentication.
Authentication, yeah. Yeah, when you want to authenticate into your network or into your Wi-Fi, you can centralize that authentication through a Radius server. Which of the following is a type of server used to collect diagnostics and monitoring data from networked devices?
Syslog?
Yeah, syslog server. It's going to log. What does UC stand for again? Oh, I remember. Does anybody remember what UC stands for?
Universal controller? I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
You guys told me last time because I had forgotten what it stood for. Unified communication.
Dang.
So it's like for your IP phones and things like that. So it controls voice communication, different things like that. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how most of the phones now are going to internet-based phones? Our phones in our school are IP phones.
What does that mean?
Well, it means you don't have to have all those big panels and switchboards and different things like that. It's all controlled within a server now, so you can configure all of the things centrally within a server, and it's using basically internet technologies, using TCP/IP to communicate, like we're doing now in Google Meet and Zoom. We're doing it over the internet.
Okay.
Rather than the regular phone system. Okay, UTM, Unified Threat Management, refers to a network security solution commonly in the form of a dedicated device called a UTM appliance or web security gateway, which combines the functionality of a firewall with additional safeguards such as URL filtering, content inspection, spam filtering, gateway antivirus protection, intrusion detection, and intrusion prevention systems, functionality, or malware inspection. That's all a mouthful, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
But it is it is a UTM. It's a Unified Threat Management. We used to kind of call this years ago like an antivirus server, and now, just as I've said with routers and different things, how they throw more features into them, the antivirus servers have now some of them have thrown so many features in that they call them a UTM now, Unified Threat Management Server. So we'll see this as technology progresses. What the book calls something may be a little bit different in the real world, as features are added and, new technology and so forth. Okay, so that is our final question here. So we're going to wrap it up here, but we're going to look at our answers to see how we did. Okay, so first one we got right. Second one we got right. Hey, I'm not going to jinx it yet. Hold your breath here. We might have done it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, we got 100%.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, boom.
Today.
We did it, Bob. We did it, Sean. We did it. Okay, I'm stopping the recording right